Hey y'all, what's up? This is Rosie, and I just want to tell the younger generations, no, we were not bored growing up. I keep hearing Gen Z in some videos, or at least some Gen Xers talk about it. I haven't actually seen the videos, but they have said, I bet you guys were so bored or mad growing up without game consoles and computers. And no, no, we weren't. Even when we were bored, we kept it to ourselves. We didn't tell our parents because they gave us stuff to do, and it was usually chores. So we would just make up stuff to do. Okay, the misconception about game consoles. We did have them. They weren't as fancy or anything as the game consoles out now. You know, we had like 8-bit, 16-bit, something like that. And so you couldn't really make out what the characters were supposed to look like. And we had to like use our imaginations to figure out what these people might look like. We had racing games, we played Space Invaders, and just different types of game on our game consoles. We had Donkey Kong. Donkey Kong was the first place I ever saw Mario. And I think he was trying to save Princess Peach from Donkey. We had Pac-Man and just all different kinds of games. I might have actually put some of those in another video, but I'm not sure. But one of the favorite things to do for some kids back then was to go to the arcade. Others like to go to the skating rink. And we just skated around and listened to the loud booming music. It was a lot like how clubs used to be. And a lot of Gen X likes to talk about how they went to the woods or somewhere to party with their friends and were passed out in a field. I never got to do that stuff. My mom never would have let me. But that's the whole thing, though. Their parents didn't know about it. They would say that they were going to a friend's house to spend the night, and those friends would say they were going to another friend's house to spend the night, and they would all be in the woods getting drunk and passed out in the field. I don't know about any of that stuff, and so I hope I'm not going to get in trouble with the other Xers for telling on them if their parents happen to see this video. But anyway, yeah, I didn't get to do any of that stuff. I never even got drunk for the first time until I was 18. And I'm not gonna get into that because it wasn't a fun or funny experience. Something very traumatic happened to me. But anyway, off of that. But yeah, we did have game consoles, and there were parties, and you know, I talked a few times about us going outside to play and ride our bikes and hang out with our friends. One time we met someone in the neighborhood where we jumped on the trampoline and we jumped for a good 30 minutes until their mom heard us out back, and she started yelling at us. But it's like she didn't know that her kid told us it would be okay. According to her child, it was her trampoline, and she just met some new friends and wanted her new friends to jump on the trampoline. And she said that it's okay, you don't have to ask my mama will be alright with it. But her mama was not alright with it. But yeah, we had things to do. I mean, we would walk to corner stores. If we didn't spend our money at school or we didn't get our allowance yet, we would spend our school money at the corner store to get us some snacks or some candy. Shit. When I lived in this one neighborhood growing up, when I lived with my aunt, there was a store directly in back of our house, and it was just like right across the parking lot, just a few feet away. And we would go to that store. Every kid in the neighborhood went to that store, and we would buy up all the candy. And when I tell you, some of that candy costed a penny, some of that candy costed a penny. Some of us would have like 30 cents, 35 cents, 50 cents, and we would use all of that to buy bags full of candy. And we would go back home and eat up all that fucking candy. And that store was not open very long. Like, a few months at most, because one day my cousins and I were going to go to the candy store, because that's what we called it. We called it the candy store. And we were going to go there, and it was closed. Like, it never opened again. The first day we were like, oh, maybe they're sick or something, or maybe they just ran out of stuff, but they never opened back up again, and we were pretty sad about that. But and then these people in the neighborhood would just open up businesses, and you could go to their houses to buy plates, or you could buy the frozen Kool-Aid, what we call cool cups, and just walk around the neighborhood and talk and play and suck on your cool cup. And I mean, like I said, we just made up stuff to do. We were not bored. And you know, our parents would take us joyriding sometimes, and we would talk on the phone to our friends. And for the lucky few of us, yeah, we stayed home and did our chores. We did chores that our parents did not do. There were many Saturdays where we would wake up to loud music playing, and that usually meant get up, get the cleaning supplies, mama wants to clean up, and we had to do that. The whole house had to participate. And in the, you know, as time went on and my mom got saved and everything, the loud secular music would turn into loud gospel music, and I really hated that. I'm sorry, but I did. But we still had to get out the cleaning supplies and help clean up, or mama would yell at us. So, and when I say us, I mean me and my kids, because usually back in the day it was just me and her, and sometimes she would want me to clean, sometimes she would just want me to clean my room, but a lot of times I would help her with the dishes or vacuuming or something, just so she wouldn't have to do it all by herself. But yeah, we had to do chores, or you know, and after that we would get put out of the house so her house could be clean for a while, and she would start cooking, and we would go out and find our friends. A lot of times I hung out by myself. I was an only child, so sometimes when I wasn't living with my cousins, when my mom and I weren't living with my aunts and cousins, I would just be off to myself, because that was just what I liked. I never had an affinity toward people. I, to this day, don't really care for people. But I would go and find a place off to myself and just be alone with my thoughts. And to me, that was fun, just getting lost in my own little world. And yeah, so no, we weren't very bored growing up. We had stuff to do. And again, with the game consoles, we didn't have very much screen time on those. At the most, we could play like an hour or two. On the weekends, we usually got 2. And then we would go outside to play. Sometimes we would play with the game console before going outside, sometimes after, sometimes in between outside sessions. But for the most part, it was kind of hand in hand. And then when we turned the game consoles off and we weren't outside, we had television shows to watch. I loved You Can't Do That on Television. That came on Nickelodeon, and it was a disgusting but fun show to watch. Nickelodeon always had shows and cartoons with gross out humor, and that was one of the first shows I saw with gross out humor. And then we had our time with MTV, of course, we had to watch music videos sometimes. And then we had our television shows. We had The Cosby Show and Cheers, and that was on Thursday. And then on Fridays, we had Family Matters and Perfect Strangers and Family Matters. Did I already say that? I can't remember. But I can't remember the shows that came on through the week, but there was Small Wonder, there was Webster. We just had different cool shows growing up in the 80s. And one of my friends today brought up on Facebook how times were simpler back then. We didn't have anything to worry about. We had better music, better television shows, and nothing to worry about, really. And that was just how we felt back then. Like, back then, a lot of us took our growing up for granted. We took our youth for granted. And it didn't dawn on us just how quickly time will fly. And that's how everybody feels about their generation. They feel like those times were the best. Those times were better. Those times were simpler. There are some kids who are pining away for 4 years ago. They are wanting another lockdown because for some of them, that was the best time of their lives. But for everybody else, it was a tough time for them. So, yeah, everybody feels some type of nostalgia for their generation. And, yeah, back in the 80s and the 90s, for me, it was a lot of fun for a lot of us. And, so, no, we weren't very bored. And even when we were bored, we did stuff so we wouldn't be bored anymore. But I'm gonna stop here, you guys. As usual, there is a donations link in the description. If you would hit that, help support me and my channel. I would appreciate it, and you'll be helping me out more than you could ever possibly realize. A wise man once said, you have to build up your tribe one person at a time. If you would like to be a part of my tribe, hit that subscribe button no matter what generation you are from. I will be so glad to have you. And yeah, thank you so much for wasting time with me. I love you so much for that. I hope to see y'all on the next upload. Bye for now.